So now we are making my favorite thing, our blueberry and white chocolate chip scones. This recipe has been with me for 21 years now. I brought it back with me when I went to Ireland. I was there for a small vacation in 1999. I ended up living there for 8 months. And I worked for a coffee shop where on the menu was these blueberry and white chocolate chip scones. So I brought that recipe back. I've made it for years. We brought it into the restaurant 10 years ago for brunch, and it is a staple in the restaurant. So we're going to go through everything you have for cooking with the cause today. Now it's going to be baking with the cause for Shade Tree. Thank you so much for buying this package. These are super easy to make. Your friends will love them, and you'll be wanting to eat them all the time. So let's go over the contents of what you have in your basket. You have all of your dry ingredients measured out for you here, but if you need to know, there's 2 cups of all-purpose flour, there's 1 tablespoon of baking powder, there's 1/3 cup of white sugar, and there's a little scant of cinnamon. And there's about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, kosher salt. So you're gonna go ahead and put that right into a bowl. And you can kind of whisk them together. So this is the supplies you kind of need to have. Your little whisk. We included parchment paper for you in case it's the size of your cookie sheet to do for later. We enclosed a lemon for your lemon zest, which I'm going to do over this. And we also included your wet ingredients. Your wet ingredients here is 1 egg and 1/2 cup of heavy cream. We also included white chocolate chips. We also included 6 tablespoons of butter, as well as a pint of blueberries. Those are chilling in the fridge until I'm ready for them. So I whisked that together there. Now I'm going to cut in my butter. I'm just going to go in the fridge and grab my butter. Nice and cold up in there. 6 tablespoons of butter in here, so I'm just going to measure it out in my eyeball. So the best thing to do, and we've already done this for you, is we've cubed your butter for you. That makes it much easier when you're folding it into your batter. But what I'm doing is I'm sort of cutting it so that I can make it into cubes. And then you just drop that right into your flour mixture. Now you can do this with a food processor at this point. You could do that with a pastry cutter. You could do that with 2 knives, 2 forks. I do it with my hands. The heat of my hands really distributes the fat of the butter, which is great. Butter is fantastic. And I'm actually going to now also add the lemon zest to the dry ingredients too, because I just like the smell. Oh, see already? Oh, it smells so nice. Oh my gosh. And you're going to zest a whole lemon into your mixture here. One little trick when you're doing that is make sure you rinse your lemon before you do that as well too. Just another step. So we're going to go ahead and cut the fat into the mixture. So you'll kind of see it's going to form like pea-like pieces, pea-sized pieces. I'm just going to continue to mix that together. And again, like if you're on a food processor, you're using sort of the dough hook. You don't need to, well, you can use the blade hook. What am I saying? So if you're using a food processor, you're going to use the blade, and you're going to sort of cut the dough into it so that, again, it forms these nice little pea-sized pieces. And what that does is you're cutting all this butter, all this fat into the flour mixture so that every bite has that butter flavor. And it's so good. Honestly, if you're making these right, you really don't need, we serve them with butter and jam, but you really don't need those because they're super flavorful. But the butter in every single bite is just, oh my gosh, it's so good. You can already smell the goodness in there. That's the lemon zest. That's the butter finding its way to all the little pieces of flour. This is similar when you're making pie crust and pie dough. You don't want to add any water. You don't want to get excited. This is all you need. This is all you need to make this. Don't add extra flour, extra water. You're really going with what we've measured out for you, and we've measured it correctly for you to use that. Okay, at this point, as it's now come together, you're going to go ahead and add your blueberries. And again, wash and dry your blueberries so there's no excess water. Go ahead and dump those in there. And I like to mix the blueberries in there because it sort of allows them to get coated in the flour so that they don't fall to the bottom of your scones. And then we'll add our white chocolate. I gave you a little excess, but it's about 1/4 cup of white chocolate chips. We use the little mini ones. Perfect. Then you're going to make a small little well in the center. And you're going to take your wet ingredients. Again, that was 1 egg and 1/2 cup of heavy cream. I'm just going to whisk that for you. I believe yours was already mixed together when you got it, but go ahead and mix it and whisk it. And there's also a little tiny thing of heavy cream left for you to use. That's going to be to brush the top of your scones when it's time to bake them. And you're just going to go ahead and dump that mixture right into the center of your bowl. Take your spatula and just sort of mix that till it comes together. Fold that together. It's going to be really nice. Oh, yeah. Now, I will tell you, depending on the heat of your kitchen, our kitchen's a little warm right now it's 111 today. So it's a little warm in here. But the heat of your kitchen, also the humidity, does make a difference when you're baking. So you will notice the dough coming together, and see, look at that. It's already coming together really nicely. So we also gave you a little extra flour. In case you don't have flour in your house, I'm sure you did. A lot of you have probably cooked during all this time. We're just going to go ahead and flour our surface. So that way when we roll the scones out, they won't stick to your hands or to the surface. I'm just going to go ahead and take all of this off of that. And just dump all of that out onto the floured surface. Perfect. And it's all going to just sort of come together. You're starting to see that. And definitely get flour on your hands so that you can just sort of work the dough. Push it down a little bit, and if you need to fold it itself. You don't want to overwork this dough because you don't want it to get you don't want the scones to be hard. Overworking dough is always one of those things. But you can see how tender that is. See how that dough is just so perfect. Oh my gosh, I love it. Perfect. And you're going to press this down to about, I would say, about an inch in size. Again, and eyeball it a little bit more in my hands. Perfect. And then you can use whatever desired cutter size that you want. And I did bring the cutter somewhere. So if you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use a glass. Just flour the glass a little bit so that the scone comes out a lot easier. I'm just going to place that right on your baking tray. Perfect. And what you'll do once you lay all of your scones out is you're going to go ahead and brush the tops. I just need a little bit more cream. And you're going to go ahead and take your pastry brush and just brush the top of your scones. Like so. And then we also gave you a little container of cinnamon and sugar mixture. You all have this lying around your house. You've all made cinnamon toast for your kids. You're just going to go ahead and take, and when you put this on top of the scones, this is again right before you bake, do it from a little bit higher so it does cover the whole top of your scone. We already have a whole tray of these ready to go, of course. Then we're going to brush the tops with, and we're going to bake. One of the points I failed to mention in the beginning is set your oven to 425 before you start this process. 425, so that the oven is ready for you. These are going to bake in the oven at 425 for 10 to 12 minutes, depending on the size that you've cut them. But double check them after 10 minutes to see where they are. If you need to rotate and your oven temperatures are different, just monitor your oven, keep your oven light on, and definitely your nose open because we're going to be smelling these before. And we'll show you what they look like as they come out. So when they come out of the oven after you've done this lovely work, they look like this, right? They look just like this. And you open them up and you've got melted chocolate and ooey gooey blueberries. I'm telling you right now, I am very grateful to have this restaurant for 10 years of doing this. But these have never left our menu. People literally come here and just want to take these home. So we're happy to share this recipe with you. Again, we've given you all the ingredients and the ratios so that after you've used the kit, you can go back and make these again for your friends and family. We've had a lot of people make these over the years. More recently, obviously, during this time, this recipe has been very popular during these live demos and things that we've done. So send me your questions. Send me your pictures. Let us know how you've done this. We love baking for a cause, cooking for a cause, benefiting Shade Tree during this time. We're really thrilled to share this family recipe with your family. Make this all the time. Make this for every brunch, every Christmas or holiday party. These are a huge staple. If you don't want to make them, come in and get them at the restaurant. We'll be happy to serve them to you on Saturday and Sunday. So thank you again for joining us. Appreciate it. Enjoy. So tasty. Oh my God.